Welcome, guys. I'm gonna give a bit of time so we have more people so I can start. Gonna share the links. Feel free to share the live stream with anybody you know. We're gonna have a freebie today, so it will actually be good. You're gonna have a private showing of one of my exclusive episodes that I have on my website. Okay, we have some 4 people so far. Let's wait until we have 10 so we can start. Three users so far. Well, let's start by reading some of the weekly news that didn't make it to the weekly report, which will be released tomorrow. Um, there's been some bad things going on as of late. Um, this thing with the open borders and migration without control is creating havoc in both sides of the pond. I guess Europe and America are in deep trouble with this. Okay, so letting some people know that we're live. Feel free to enter any questions on the chat. Of course, as always, I'll do my best to reply to every single question. Just need to share this real quick. Well, I don't like. This is my wife's laptop. I don't like it as much. It's a bit inconvenient. Okay. Let's see how many people we have. We have 5 people. I wanted to at least to be 10 so we can start with the official programming. One of the things that I wanted to discuss for sure is this unfortunate incident that happened here in Europe. A few days ago, Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini has called for the chemical castration of individuals convicted of violent sexual offenses, especially against minors. This call to action follows the arrest of 7 Egyptian migrants in Catania accused of gang rape. In the late afternoon of January 30th, that was 11 days ago, a 13-year-old girl and her 17-year-old boyfriend were subjected to a brutal attack, according to local news outlet El Informista. The young girl, accompanied by her boyfriend, was reportedly attacked and sexually assaulted by 2 of the 7 suspects, while the others restrained her boyfriend, stood guard, and recorded. Passers-by discovered the traumatized couple and quickly alerted the authorities. The Carabinieri conducted rapid investigations with the cooperation of the local district and juvenile prosecutors officers. When we see news like this daily in America and Europe, you know that we need to get something. We need to get something done about this. The sooner, the better. Um, what people fail to understand in the bigger scope of things is that whenever you have a criminal, the rights of the victim trumps those of the criminal. So I don't care if you are pro migration, if you're a leftist, if you have all these ideals in which we have to share the world and the countries, that the borders, the imaginary borders, they don't exist, and all this mumbo jumbo that people like to bring up um, to describe perfect world and utopia that doesn't exist at the present time because simply, obviously, the system in itself is corrupt. Um, Wars and conflicts and exploitation of diverse types are always used to social engineer certain clusters of people to act a certain way. And this is not new. This has been going on for at least, I don't know, 200, 300 years, you name it. Um, what's the solution now for places like the United States, Canada, and basically the European Union? Well, this is obviously a problematic situation, mainly for one reason. There are a lot of second and third generation migrants that, their legitimacy as far as American or European citizens is official since they were born inland from migrant parents. In this case, the situation is more difficult to solve. Obviously, deportation is not an easy option in this case. Um, However, in the current state of affairs, in the current crisis that we're having, and I don't want to hear, hey, these people, poor people, they deserve, you know, to be able to enjoy and get the taxpayers' money from Americans and Europeans because we also destroy their homes and you know all these conflicts. I don't remember agreeing with one of them, and I'm sure most of my viewers are not warmongers. Don't vouch for the for the military industrial complex, and you know if push comes to shove, I'm always going to look for the well-being of my people. And it starts at home. Obviously, family first. And once that safety is secure, I would be able to assist my neighbor in whatever situation they need my assistance with. That should translate the same way to cities inside every country. In the case of the United States, obviously, states. Each state should secure the safety of their citizens. And if that's secure, then they can help their neighboring states. In the case of the European Union, the same way. Um, you cannot spread too thin when fighting a big issue. And that also that also counts for personal conflicts, that you can have with people. You're not going to be fighting 10 people at the same time. Is unwise. Countries should try to focus their efforts on their biggest current problem, and it has to be a problem that can be solved and has solution. You're not going to waste all your energies in something that you cannot control. So with this open border situation, obviously, I think it's the responsibility of every man to get their house and their neighborhoods in order first. What do I mean with that? If the government won't come to help you, if the police is useless and anything but efficient, you need to go and talk with your neighbors. You need to go and talk and organize with your fellow man and protect the vulnerable. It is a sacred duty of every man to do this in their own homeland. Protect the elderly, protect the children, protect the women. If you as a man are not able to do that and the government won't assist you, police forces are, insufficient, then of course a state of emergency can be summoned. In a perfect scenario, we would be able to deport every single criminal with a migrant background. And in principle, we shouldn't allow any illegal migrants to come to come unabated and uncontrolled without any, um, how do I put it? There has to be accountability. If you have a criminal history in your country, you cannot go around crossing borders with all the easiness in the world. Um, Now, I beg your pardon because I'm running out of battery, so I need to connect this laptop. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Good. So where was we? Where were we? In the case of the United States, Europe and the United States are different cases. In the case of the United States, each state should guarantee the safety of their own citizens. Obviously, we know blue states are more prone to be unsafe and to promote crime. The red states are also getting hounded and invaded by these infinite waves of migrants from South America, Central America, and even Africa now, as far as I understand. The European Commission is a perfect sample of an organization that is clearly pinned against its citizens. Um, it was always meant to be like that. These organizations never had a benevolent purpose. It was always a way to centralize power in order to line up every single nation into the same agendas and create these domino effects that we see nowadays. So when you see news like this, a 13-year-old girl gang raped by allegedly two guys, as five others grabbed and restrained the boyfriend and recorded the assault. I mean, there's no mystery here. This girl's life is probably ruined forever. And this is without knowing all the gruesome details of the injuries and such, of course. This is just imagining the situation from the surface. Um, I don't know, man. But if you're a guy and you read this shit and you don't get pissed off, uh, I gotta say there's something very wrong with you. And every day, every day is the same with the situations. Um, I am subscribed to a bunch of sources that facilitate my detection of these cases, and basically it never stops. It's three, four, five incidents, not as gruesome as this, perhaps, but sexual assaults nonetheless, murder, violence. Um, just today, I was reading that 10 minutes away from my house, there was a hit job. Three Angolan guys, migrants, of course, executed one of their former business partners with military weapons, AK-47s, apparently. So, you know, it comes to the point that here in Europe, you cannot even carry a handgun. And yet, the criminals go around running with AK-47s. Very hard situation. And for the common person to have a certainty of the safety of their family and loved ones under these circumstances is pretty much impossible. I appreciate you guys coming here. Hello, Julie. Hello, Patty. I know that the hello can do. I know that it's Super Bowl night right now that they're playing. I don't watch that thing anymore for obvious reasons. It's all scripted, and it's basically a satanic ritual and the biggest human trafficking event in the world, actually. So today in Las Vegas, which is a city that it's already infamous for degeneracy and for facilitating all kinds of vices. I have to imagine that today in Nevada, there's going to be probably thousands of trafficking victims, human trafficking. So, just one more reason to avoid watching the NFL. In reality, with all the woke shit, uh, there's hardly any reason left to watch. But these are the news that come around day in and day out every week. Um, we had a similar case. Let me see. Let me go back a few days. Hmm. There's some guys. Well, speaking of sketchy activity um, with minors and sexual abuse and all that. I must show you guys something because you might be aware of it, but at the same time, you might not. Um, I don't know, but some of you might be aware of the recent feud between Phil Gatlusky and Nickel Beer. And of course, Nickel Beer was my former partner, and it's a known scammer by now. Leaving aside what he did to my family and myself, um, especially going through the sale of snake oil, the so-called Ari brand, and I'm still waiting the lawsuit. By the way, I mean, I exposed this product as a total scam 4 months ago, and Al Pasoni told me I was to wait for a lawsuit to arrive into my mailbox. It's been 3 or 4 months, Alpa. Where's my lawsuit? You know? That's why, usually when these people make this kind of idle threats, you just gotta chuckle and tell them bring it on. Because the thing they're more afraid of is discovery. And they're not gonna, spend the resources in actually exposing themselves further. Hello, Angie. I hope that's you. I think that's you. Hello, Billy Goat. We have some nice people. We are 24 on all platforms so far. Twitter is a bit empty. But yes, speaking of this situation with Nick Albier, one of the things that, I was, of course, able to learn from my own conversations with him, and then later on verify with my conversations with his former roommate, even Alpa herself, and other business partners or colleagues. The thing about Nick is that he uses people just like most people uses, a bag of chips. Once the substance is over, he just throws away the bag, and there's nothing holding him to anybody. As at the moment that he can no longer use and squeeze this person, exploit them, or control them to a full extent, then they are discarded, and that's one of the trends I've witnessed. But something I never witnessed, at least, of course, I will hope. I have never to witness one of my associates or colleagues incurring in horrendous behavior against minors, because I would probably end up in jail. But it's very curious that when Phil Godlewski's audience was actually putting money in Nick's pockets, crazy money, I guess, by the numbers that he was bragging about. He was making $80,000 a month, and he was very specific to me in that way. He even sent me screenshots. He loves self-snitching. This is the thing. And when all this was going on, when he released this psyop film about Trump being the commander in chief based on this crazy Derek Johnson guy, um, he used to come and tell me, "Hey, I'm making $80,000 now, and you could have had 10, 15% of that, and now you have nothing." You know, because the guy cannot take no for an answer. But I hope that's not the case with the ladies. I hope that's just the case with colleagues and stuff like that. I'm feeling way better. Thank you. I'm still a bit sick, not completely out, but nothing compared to a week ago. A week ago, I was completely destroyed. Now, let me show you some things that are quite shocking. Now, I'm going to share my screen here. And now, okay, apparently, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me when I'm screen sharing. So let's see. Okay. So, can you guys let me know if you hear me as you're watching my screen? Just put yes or no if you can hear me. All good. Okay, great. So, I wanted to show you this thing because this takes the cake. You know, I've exposed plenty about Nick, plenty, and you could say I'm the first person to ever expose him. Now there is this guy um, that is doing a great job as well, William Byrd. Uh, he has a podcast that is very worthwhile, and he's relentless. I like his approach actually. But let me find the situation here. Okay. No. Oh boy, it's always like this. It's always when I need to find something quick that I don't get it as soon as I want. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Back when Nick was defending Phil Godlewski and he was making money out of his audience, when people were coming to question him on why he would work with a guy accused of actually being with a 15-year-old girl some 10, 15 years ago, I don't know the details. I'm not involving myself in that battle for obvious reasons. But when Nick was all good with Phil, when questioned about this, he had this to say: have you seen what 15-year-olds look like nowadays, or even back then? This was on December 11th last year. So, 2 months ago. I mean, I've never said anything like that in my life. And if I had a friend that said something like that to excuse his behavior, he wouldn't be my friend anymore. That's pretty obvious. You know, you gotta wonder why someone like Nick, who seems to be a flip flopper, a chronic flip flopper, doesn't have the spine to maintain a position um, just based on his integrity alone. But I guess that when you don't have any integrity and you already are a fed, an informant, and you know that you have, you know, I don't care how you behave in public, the bravado and the attitude and all that. But when you know you're a fraud, when you deep down you look yourself in the mirror and you know that you are a complete fake, I guess it doesn't matter as much, right? You are already on the way downtown. I don't see Phil pedaling at the moment or in the last 10 years. He was 25 and fell in love with a 15-year-old. So, all good, I guess. 25-year-olds can fall in love with 15-year-olds, and that's not a problem for an old Nick as long as he can have his shackles on his pockets. I don't think Phil is a pedophile like that, which people attach the cabal with. There can be flexibility here. You can hate him for it, but what's that doing to you? Reach understanding and honor yourself more. Not siding with a pedophile here, as I don't think Phil has an attraction to children. Have you seen what 15 years look like now? Even then. Oh boy. So, I mean, let's be serious. Someone that says this must have looked at underage girls in the wrong way. Uh, there is a natural conflict when men who are not interested in minors, children, react when these things come about. And, you know, the normal reaction is anger, disgust, um, you know, usually nothing positive like this. But there can be flexibility here, you know. We can be flexible. Age don't matter, or at least that's what Nix wants you to think. But then, of course, we know the rest of the story. What happened, of course, is that, well, this is another comment by Nick. That day he was on fire. Well, every story has many sides of truth. Personally, I don't see a 25-year-old as a mature adult. The brain for a male doesn't even reach its growth until 35. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing was wrong, that's for sure, but could he help it? Looking at those texts, it seemed far less sinister than we people make him out to be, or what people make him out to be. I don't think Phil is a pedophile, like that, which, okay, then continues on the one we already read. And, the logic here is off the charts. Now, that's something that I wanted to show you. Um, um, what do you guys think about that? Does that sit well with any of you? Would you entrust Nick Albier with your teenage daughter? You know, would you leave him 10 minutes alone with her, even? Well, the answer to those questions in my case is a big and huge no. And, there's many things that cross my mind, like things I remember he told me. Obviously, we cannot know the level of debauchery that this guy partook in the privacy of his own home. In my case, in conversations that he had with me across the years, of course, I have shown you some of those receipts, some of those screenshots. He confessed to heavy drug use, steroids, coke, Adderall, meth, DMT. I suppose that, ecstasy, things like that, of course. He, as far as I know, he had a penchant for escorts and call girls. As he goes around calling other women cunts and prostitutes, and that's like his thing. That when women don't agree with him, he gets in this bitching mode, very aggressive, very aggressive to be such a peaceful Buddhist, as he describes himself, of course. Hey, man, if you like to spend your days locked up in your room, calling for room service, Uber Eats, ordering cocaine every day, and hiring call girls from Koreatown, according to his former roommate, this is what happened for months when Nick lived with him. Obviously, there is no way for us to know that those poor women, those Asian women who were surely trafficked, surely they had a pimp, they had a master. These women don't do this independently, and even if they did, you know, we are so lenient in our society and in our own movement, um, that we are just basically enabling every single person out there to not be strict with themselves and their own peers, the people that are close to them. This is degeneracy that we see. Um, okay, let me read some of these messages. Hello, Fatima. Hello, SD. Hello, Brenda. Okay, this is nice. Bunch of nice people here. Awake, awake. Of course, and you're completely right. Like, this is the thing. Substance abuse. We can all change. Now, Nick says that he's clean because he has already a solidified way of tricking his probation officer with urine exams, of course. He was high 3, 4 months ago when he made that video with Sasha Stone and Alpa, in which they very classily threatened to remove my head from my body. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but of course, the threat came from Sasha because obviously Nick doesn't even have the balls to do that himself. I would love for him to try. But he doesn't have the courage. He doesn't have the testicular fortitude to go after someone himself without his minions, without his crowd, without his friends, without, even without his girlfriend. When he used to come and stalk me and my wife, he had to come and do it in numbers with three or four others. Otherwise, he doesn't feel comfy. And I agree. I changed my substance abuse very young, thank God. Um, Most of you know my story. I was a musician. I was a DJ. I was involved in hosting events, concerts. Back in, I created my band back in 2007, and I dissolved it 7 years later in 2014. I was addicted to heroin and benzodiazepines for, I'd say, a couple of years. I quit in 2008. I started in 2006, but I actually tried it in high school. I tried these things in high school when I was like 16 or 15. Um, you can change your life. Yes, you can stop using substances, and there's always a redemption for that. Um, Today, I for obvious reasons, I don't smoke on screen. I do smoke cigarettes. Only when I drink a glass of wine, I like to smoke a cigarette. I do smoke weed sometimes. I just don't do it on camera. I think it's unnecessary. It set up a terrible example. But as far as your, let me see. Okay, I have some messages here. But as far as you know, liking children or making this kind of comments that Nick has made, I don't think it's a hard comeback from that. You know, God bless Billy. Very well done. 7 years is a lot, man. Wow, 7 years is a lifetime being clean, and it gets easier every year, but it's a constant struggle. God bless, man. Heroin and methadone. I hear you. And it would be fine if there's only, like, we all make mistakes. We shouldn't go around demanding for perfection. And even though we should put our people to that we like to higher standards, but you know enough of, I hear you. Yes, I have tons of videos on my Telegram. I have an article on my website about Nick and all the things that he has done. He basically hid the company profits from me for what, like 2 years. And because I offer myself to do marketing and customer service, I was able to find the correct numbers of the company and how much money we were making. And I'm gonna be showing those receipts next week. It's just that I'm gonna be honest. The way that I work is that I download a bunch of images and videos, and then I, you know, label them and move them to their own folders. But in the last 2 years, I've been so busy that I just created temporary folders, like 15 of them with tons of information that I need, and I don't know where those screenshots are. I know that I have them. I know they're not gone, but I have to go through probably 50,000 files this week and find them. I will find them. I'm sure I will. Um, Thank you, Billy. That means a lot. Thank you, SD. God bless you, Fatima. So I got a treat for you guys. I know that some of you guys probably know, but others might not know. After I split with Good Lion, I opened my own subscription based website. And I want to show you a bit of it, how it works, what are the options to subscribe, what kind of films we have there. So you guys, come and form part of the Total Disclosure family as members. Um, so I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you the website, but I'm also going to show you a free episode today. I'm going to play for you Louder Than Love Part 3. The ones that are public right now and free for everyone are parts 1 and 2. So this is the first time Part 3 is going to be shown for the public. We have 4 parts so far. Part 5 comes out next weekend. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope to hear your reviews about it. So let me share my screen again and show you what we are all about. Okay. So it's real simple. You go to totaldisclosure.net and you get here, you land on the homepage. This is our chat feature in which you can contact me anytime. I receive an alarm on my phone and my computers. Here you will find the most recent episode, whatever it is, as the main tool. This is very important. I hope you all guys subscribe to the newsletter. This is my main way of communicating with you. If I get taken down from social media, although I don't think I will have problems on Telegram, the other platforms could be problematic. So as you can see, this is the cover for episode 4 of Louder Than Love, The Murders of Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. This is the weekly report. I usually release it on Sundays. Sometimes I get behind a little bit, so I release it on Mondays. This week is going to be released tomorrow, as I'm a bit delayed. There's a bunch of films that you can get access to. We have Vaccine Genocide, which is completely free, Hollywood Blind Items, Brackets and Jackets, The Murder of Isaac Cappy, The Murder of Anthony Bourdain. We have Fear and Loathing in Venezuela, which is the secret compound that Epstein and Maxwell had in South America. CERN's Large Hadron Collider, The Murder of Kate Spade, The Murder of Ines Orreguieta, Order Out of Chaos, Freemasonry Exposed, The Murder of Monica Peterson, Aleister Crowley, The Murder of John Benet Ramsey, Justin Trudeau Exposed. This is a very good documentary I'm proud of. The Curse of Led Zeppelin, The Murder of Jim Morrison is another one. We have Hunter Biden, The Murder of Avicii, the Chinese Communist Party Exposed, The Dark Side of Airbnb, The Murder of Natasha Haid, in which I also do a great deal of exposure on Pope Francis and the Jesuit order. We have a pro-life film called Tears in Heaven, very good film as well. And then we have The Murder of Stanley Kubrick, Balenciaga, Satanic Ritual Abuse Factory, and The Murder of Michael Hutchins. So these are the films that you will get immediate access to by subscribing and becoming a member. All in all is around 230 episodes. Some of them are 40 minutes, some of them are 25, some are 1 hour. It varies. But you have several options to subscribe. For example, you can opt in for the cheapest option, which is $5.50 a month. You can also go for the yearly one, which is $55. Or if you love our content, you can subscribe for a lifetime. As long as we are alive and the internet is in place, we'll provide this service. You can become an executive producer for $100 a month or more. It's your decision. With this, you get your name on the credits of my films, all of them, the weekly report, and you can also advertise your business. We have 2-month memberships, 2-year memberships. The Wolfpack membership includes 1 year of subscription plus a shirt and a coffee mug. And then we have 6-month subscriptions and custom. So you can, if you want to assist us with 25 a month, you let me know and I create a custom subscription for you. That's not a problem. I have a huge library of free films. Here, you have to hover and go to Wolf Watch. And so far, we have almost 100, if not more, already. Documentaries by other creators, which I share here for educational purposes. With some of them, I don't agree with. There are certain things here and certain creators I don't necessarily like. I don't necessarily trust, but discernment is a thing. So I'm expecting you to have your own discernment and to digest what you want to digest and to take out the real information from all of these different films. Okay. We have unacceptable abuse, sacrificial virgins, pedogate. I think this is Maori Buddha. Clinton Chronicles, The Head of the Snake about Mossad, Europa, The Last Battle. It's a very popular one. Harvey Weinstein, The Obama Deception, AIDS Incorporated, The Dynasty of the Rothschilds, January 6th, The Panama Deception, The Rape of Britain. There's cases here like Tommy Robinson, which is the creator of The Rape of Britain. I agree with this documentary. This is an amazing documentary that showcases what's happening in England, and especially England, in regards to victims of grooming gangs by Pakistanis. But Tommy Robinson happens to be a Mossad agent, a Mossad asset. Do I agree 100% with him? No. But, that doesn't mean that their films or the content they put out is completely nefarious. You can still benefit from it. So I usually try to upload some 10 or 20 new films every week to this library. We have the 3 seasons of conspiracy theory. We have some flat earth stuff, which I know some of you hate. Others love it. Fasting, we have health stuff. Cathy O'Brien, trans. Borderless is a great film. The Corbett Report, The Greatest Story Never Told is also worth watching. Empire of Dust is very interesting. Farmlands as well. We even have Infowars here. Our little Mossad CIA puppet here, Alex Jones, and you can eventually. I hope to have over 1,000 films here, and this is for people to just digest what they need from every single subject, and also expose control opposition agents such as Alex Jones. This is we're keeping tabs on history. And some of the films, like for example, I will never put a Good Lion film here. I don't need it. But if even though I wrote 5 of them, I would never put a Good Lion film here on my website. But you can also make me some requests and let me know what films you want to see on the website, or any suggestions. I'm open to suggestions, any kind of suggestions and ideas. Thank you very much, SD. You're great. Okay. So you cannot see the screen on this side. Okay, I'm figuring this out. So here we also have merch. You can go and check it out. We have some crazy good shirts that my wife made. We unfortunately we need to put them at 30 because the printer service that we use, it's so good, it's so quality, and even the delivery they do is really quick. We went with the best, but at the same time it's a bit more expensive. But As you can see, for example, we have things here that I really enjoy. For example, the wood chipper design uh, is very good. Um, I hope to be buying this one for myself very soon. Actually, gonna be wearing it everywhere. This one too, advocating for the new crusades. It's one of my favorite shirts. My wife is an amazing. Is amazing at creating these little uh, shirts. Her designs are just great. I don't know if you can appreciate it, but yes, you can choose a bunch of colors, all sizes, and that's basically it. Um, our attention hours are usually 16 hours a day. You know, I try to start my day around 9 a.m. Europe time. So that's around 3 a.m. in America. And I usually go to bed and close my office at midnight or 1 a.m. So, or maybe later, like 2 or 3. So around 9 p.m. in America. But let's go with the movie. Don't want to let's go with the film. I guess you guys are ready to see the third part of Louder Than Love. I hope you enjoy it. And at the end, I will have a small Q&A with you guys for any question that you have on the film. And I guess that's it. I appreciate all of you guys coming and hanging out. Welcome, Dan. Um, okay. Okay. Let me see. You weren't able to see my screen at all as I was showing my website. This is bad. You cannot see this shirt, for example. I'm showing my shirt on the share screen. Let me know. So right now you cannot see anything. I'm showing a shirt. Right now you cannot see anything I'm sharing. Um, no shirt. Okay. This is strange. Let's see if there is another way of doing this. Okay. And now can you see it? I'm trying these options because I've never used Rumble Studio before. Um, I used it for the previous podcast, but I didn't share my screen. So today is a new experiment. No. Okay. Rumble can't see it. Well, that sucks. That really sucks. That really sucks. I don't know how we're gonna do this then. I was intending to play this film for you guys. Um, that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Okay, let me see. Let me see something. Let me see if I disable my camera. Let's see if you can see it. Let me know, guys. Can you see it? This is gonna be the last try, by the way. I don't mean to bore you to death. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So we found a solution. I have to turn off the camera first and then share the screen. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go to my website. Do you see the website? No. Yep. So it seems like hmm, you guys see the Rumble logo. Okay, and this, do you see it? Just see, let's see if I can play this film for you guys. I intended for this to be a free premiere for you. Um, the, the intro. Okay, so I tried to play the film at least like the first 5 seconds. Did you saw anything besides the Rumble logo or just the Rumble logo? Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't seem like it's gonna work. I'm gonna have to try something else, and I guess I will have to find a solution later. This is a bummer. I don't know if it's because this laptop, man. I bought this laptop for my wife. It's a Chromecast or something like that. Boy, I hate them. Yes. Let me see. Front camera, internal mic. Hmm, that's a bummer. But okay, if I change it to presentation, perhaps. If I change it to presentation and I put it like this, are you able to see anything now besides my face? Like the website or anything? I switched it to presentation to see if that fixes it, but it might not. Okay, so you see me scrolling. And how? Okay. It's just because, okay, so I'm gonna play this for 2 minutes. I mean, you should be able to see the what I'm seeing, I guess. But let me make sure you can. Yeah. Yep. Not gonna work apparently. That's unfortunate. I will have to do this from my own computer. This computer is not good. Um, hmm, that's a bummer, guys. I'm sorry, but we can try again next Tuesday if you guys join me. Um, let's see what else can we comment on that we have here on the news. Okay, so the podcast of the guy, one of the guys that is exposing Nick, actually, it's called Cold Beer Confessional. You can find him on YouTube, Twitch, and D Live, and he's a very funny guy. I like the Southern accent. Um, but yes, it is an unfortunate situation that I couldn't show you guys the film. Tomorrow I'll do a test with my own computer in my office. It's just here is better to do streaming because it's more comfortable. You know, the living room has better energy, I guess. Um, Now, because we have a bunch of people here, I don't really want to disconnect so fast. Um, there was this situation happening with, let me see if I see here, with the owner of former owner, CEO of the World Wrestling Federation, Vince McMahon. A lot of people remember the guy because he actually had Donald Trump participating in his sports entertainment company as some kind of rivalry with him. Well, as it turns out, Mr. McMahon has been accused of sex trafficking and horrendous abuse. Um, I would like to read you the court documents, but I guess let me see if I have them here. Um, yes, I do. Let me see. Yeah, Will is hilarious. That guy's funny. But don't worry, guys. I'll be able to show you the next part of the film somehow. I'll find a way. If I cannot do it on Rumble Studios, I'll use something else. But as I was saying, obviously, I don't think many women are into wrestling, and at least not many men should. That's something that you should get over with by the time you are like 15. But if you still like it, or I don't know, if you ever liked it as a child, you obviously know that there is a bunch of symbolism and occultism going on in the World Wrestling Federation, as it used to be called, the WWF, and now it's known as the WWE. So I wanted to comment on this case because it's super creepy. And it says Vince McMahon, the longtime chairman and former chief executive of World Wrestling Entertainment, resigned from the board of WWE's parent company on Friday, one day after a former employee accused him of sexual assault and sex trafficking in a lawsuit. McMahon, 78, was the executive chairman of TKO Group, the parent company of WWE, where he no longer held a formal position. The lawsuit filed on Thursday in the U.S. District Court in Connecticut accuses the entertainment mogul of trafficking the employee, Yanel Grant, as well as physically and emotionally torturing her for his sadistic pleasure. The graphic complaint, and I have the complaint right here. So this is probably the first time you're gonna hear about these crazy things that Mr. McMahon likes to do to women. And I assure you, this is not the first time this guy has abused a woman. This is not something that you wake up at 78 years old and decide to start doing. It's just not. So let's see. Plaintiff Janelle Grant. hereby files this complaint against defendants World Wrestling Entertainment, LLC, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. It says, an introduction of the case. Plaintiff Janelle Grant is a former employee of WWE who was the victim of physical and emotional abuse, sexual assault, and trafficking at WWE. Ms. Grant is filing the lawsuit not just to address her own suffering, but also to act for those who are afraid to speak out. WWE's billionaire, point number two, WWE's billionaire, founder, and executive chairman, defendant Vincent K. McMahon, lived in a penthouse duplex in Mrs. Grant's apartment building. 3. The two met in March 2019 when Mrs. Grant was dealing with profound grief and struggling financially. After devoting years to around the clock caregiving, her parents passed away. On top of that, she was unemployed and her family home was lost in her parents' bankruptcy. Point 4. After her family passed away, Ms. Grant dedicated herself to finding gainful employment. Neighbors in her building provided career advice and sought her assistance with personal events. Ms. Grant used these non-paying roles and volunteer work in community initiatives to build her resume. 5. The building's resident manager wanted to help. She messaged McMahon to ask whether he would talk to her, sharing that Mrs. Grant had been through hardship and would do great things if given a fresh start. McMahon enthusiastically responded, "Hell yes." Number 6. McMahon befriended Mrs. Grant, giving her hopes of a new life with promises of a yet to be determined role at WWE, and showering her with attention and assurances, along with gifts like a VIP experience at WrestleMania. But what seemed like a dream in the spring of 2019 quickly became a nightmare. 7. As McMahon dangled career making, life changing promises in front of Mrs. Grant, he demonstrated an increasing lack of boundaries. We're talking about a girl that is in her early 20s, right? So we have this old wolf, Vince McMahon, who is clearly very experienced at making people do what he wants. He's one of the most powerful guys, not only in sports entertainment, but in the world. The money that this business has made across the years is nothing short of spectacular. Okay, the complaint continues, ostensibly about a potential job at WWE. During several meetings that were ostensibly about a potential job at WWE, he greeted her in his underwear, touched her, repeatedly asked for hugs, and spent hours sharing intimate details about his personal life. So he was trying to build rapport, build confidence. 8. McMahon warned Mrs. Grant to keep their closeness secret, lest rumors lead to public trouble, and added that while he protects loyal people, he had world class legal resources on speed dial to deal with people who became a problem. 9. As such, when McMahon pushed Mrs. Grant for a physical relationship in return for long promised employment at WWE, she felt trapped in an impossible situation. Submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin, Mrs. Grant feared that she had everything to lose and faced negative consequences no matter what happened. Okay, the complaint continues with more specifics, but what I can tell you from this case, for example, is that, man, the details are nasty, 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 nasty. And apparently, she forced her to have sexual relations for hours straight. He forced her to threesomes with other company employees, part of management, other wrestlers. Actually, she was even offered to Brock Lesnar, which also is a wrestler that also fights with the UFC, with the Ultimate Fighting Championship under Dana White. And if you have seen this guy, man, this guy is a monster. The size of Brock Lesnar is not it's not that one of a normal human being. So this lady was in very bad shape. She was injured constantly during these exchanges. She was basically offered as they were doing a number on her. I guess it started as a more glamorous kind of arrangement, but later on it moved into almost torture-like situations in which, in one of the incidents, and this is something that a lot of wrestlers have been making fun of, and sometimes I listen to this guy Jim Cornette. He was a former manager of the federation, hilarious guy, even though he's a lip tart, but he's funny. Vince McMahon took a dump on this lady's head during a threesome with another guy, as the other guy was, penetrating her. Vince McMahon was taking a dump in this lady's head, in her hair, um, and then things like this, things that are borderline satanic ritual abuse, man. Like the only thing you're missing there is the chanting and the freaking candles and the masks and the robes, and the sacrilege, I guess. But all in all, you have this guy doing these things to women. There's been several complaints across the years. I'm sorry, Adrian. It wasn't my intention. It wasn't my intention. I am sorry. Oh, I thought you were saying that because of the. Never mind. Never mind. Because of the dump that Vince McMahon took on his victim. But anyway, uh, he was offering this lady as, basically as a bonus item on even on contracts that he meant to sign with wrestlers for them to come back to the organization, such as Brock Lesnar is an example. Um, Wrestling is an interesting thing because, I mean, it's I would describe it as a soap opera for men, and obviously I stopped watching it when I was like 15 or something like that. Um, Sometimes I like to watch a match out of nostalgia, but what's more curious about this phenomena, it's the occult aspect and the trafficking, sexual abuse, even sacrificial aspect of it all. Why do I say this? Well, first of all, oh man, that's funny. Well, we had a 40-year-old skater with an attitude on the group today, so that's why Adrian is saying that. But as I was saying, there's this scandal that happened during the early 90s with the asteroids, and not only the asteroids, but there was also um, uh, an announcement of sexual abuse by certain gay elements inside the management of the Wrestling Federation. So they were referring basically to Pat Patterson, it's my guess, and other members of other managers or other promoters, uh, personal aides of Mr. McMahon. Um, enjoy your dinner, Adrian. Love you guys as well. Say hello to your husband. Um, but, in which these young wrestlers come to the fold. We're talking about 16, 17-year-old guys, and they are put in this situation in which if they don't service Pat Patterson, which is one of the promoters, or was, obviously he's out of the federation by now. This was in 1991. If the kids and new wrestlers refuse to service this deviant, they don't get a contract. They don't get signed. So obviously, from that you can gather that some of these wrestlers had to um, basically sell their souls for a career, which of course I guess you can always say no, and you can always turn your back on your dream, whatever it is. I know that me for a fact, I would have never partaken in any gay shenanigans for in exchange of anything, uh, no matter the situation. And sadly, yeah, and sadly, there's other people out there that they don't have the strength, they don't have the principle, they don't have the support system from family and friends to just be able to say no and just be able to walk away. Um, Many wrestlers have died very young. Uh, the lives that they live traveling, I don't know, 250 years out of 365, or even 300 days out of the 365, while using all kinds of supplements, steroids, testosterone boosters, drugs like cocaine to stay awake, meth, crack. There's cases of legends like Razor Ramon. I forget his real name. Scott Hall is his real name, and Jake the Snake Roberts. Um, who else that perished because of substance abuse? Um, that they actually end up ruining their lives because of this situation. There's been women who have been completely destroyed by the company as well, and it's my suspicion. It's a first suspicion that Vince McMahon has a lot to do with it. Obviously, the business caters to Hollywood. Many wrestlers have tried to make that transition from the entertainment industry for grown men to Tinseltown. The most successful, of course, being Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, who we all know has lots of skeletons in his closet, starting with what he had to do to be where he is, which I assure you wasn't anything good, and it involves sacrifice of the little ones, but also this recent episode with the fires in Lahaina, in which he joined forces with Oprah, um, and getting a bunch of messages here, and basically scammed the people of Maui. These people that are still to this day suffering. The last update that I saw is that they're not even able to be housed in one place. They need to be moving all the time from hotel to hotel, which makes it super hard for them. And one of the cases that some of you guys will remember is the Benoit murders. Chris Benoit was Adreno Rock. Yeah, you can say that twice. Chris Benoit was a Canadian wrestler, very skilled, very respected in the professional circle, um, who supposedly killed his wife and his son and then killed himself. And many people seem to disagree with that. As a curious fact, his Wikipedia page was modified hours before his body was found. And they discovered that that edit that was done on his Wikipedia came from the headquarters of the World Wrestling Federation. Now, it's not possible for Chris Benoit to have done that because he was at his place, at his house, in another state. And yet, someone knew that Chris Benoit's wife had been murdered and basically changed the description on the Wikipedia website. So that happened, and I would like to dive into that later this year. I would like to make a film on all these suspicious deaths in the WWE. Obviously, I'm not familiar with the news stories of the last 10, 15, 20 years because I simply stopped watching. For example, I still, yeah, well, nobody does. That's the thing, but it's about the conspiracies, the sex trafficking, the human trafficking, the exposure of this criminal rackets that accumulate tons of victims. It's not about your personal interest necessarily. Like some people don't really listen to rock music. Doesn't mean they're not going to appreciate a documentary about how the music industry exploits people all over the world. That's a bit besides the point. But anyway, um, yeah, I think you're right, Florian. It's just a cover front for more nefarious things, and well, we'll get to it later this year. I will leave you guys with this last recommendation. Go to the website totaldisclosure.net and go to the where it says films on the top part. Go to just hover over it, and there is a section called Wolfpack. There, I will be uploading free films. Usually more than 10 every week, so you can keep entertained for hours on end. I will try to make it work for the stream this week to be able to show you the episode. Sadly, today was a bit of a failure, but I expect for that to work better next week. Anyways, thank you for hanging out. And despite the malfunctions, I hope it wasn't all that boring. See you later, guys.